Thursday, June 5, 2025. High Court, London. A judge signs documents that have traveled through months of cross-border cooperation. At stake, 342 properties across London's most desirable postcodes. Mayfair apartments, Fitzrovia blocks, a mansion in St. John's Wood purchased for £11 million. Combined value, £185 million. The owner, Saifuzzaman Chowdhury, 56, former Minister of Land for Bangladesh, close ally of the now exiled Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. How does a government minister accumulate £185 million in London real estate? Chittagong, Bangladesh, a port city where fortunes are made in shipping, textiles, and the particular alchemy of political connection. Saifuzzaman Chowdhury came from what local observers describe as a powerful family. The details of his early career remain sparse in English-language sources, but the trajectory is clear. He rose through the Awami League, Sheikh Hasina's political party, accumulating influence with each election cycle. His appointment as Minister of Land placed him at a critical junction of power and money. In Bangladesh, land is everything. Agricultural plots, urban development sites, industrial zones. Every significant transaction passes through bureaucratic channels the land ministry controls. The position offers modest official compensation. A minister's salary in Bangladesh amounts to approximately $500 monthly. Even with allowances and benefits, legitimate earnings over an entire career wouldn't purchase a single London flat. Yet Chowdhury's relationship with Hasina transcended ordinary political alliance. When Al Jazeera's undercover journalists met him in London, wearing hidden cameras, he described the connection in familial terms. "I am like her son, actually." The phrase carries weight. In South Asian political culture, such proximity to power opens doors that remain locked to ordinary citizens. It provides protection, access, opportunity, the kind of opportunity that might, over time, transform a government salary into a global property portfolio. During that same undercover meeting, Chowdhury discussed his global portfolio with evident pride. He spoke of his taste for expensive suits. He mentioned his preference for designer footwear, specifically baby croc shoes, crocodile leather. The material choice of those announcing wealth without subtlety. The investigators filming him would later note the contrast. A public servant from a nation where millions live on less than $2 daily, discussing luxury accessories while surrounded by London properties worth tens of millions. February 17, 2016. Companies House, London. A registration filing creates ZTS Properties Limited, company number 100-10608. Director, Saifuzzaman Chowdhury. Date of birth, February 1969. Country of residence, England. The paperwork is routine. Thousands of property companies register annually. But this filing marks the beginning of something systematic, a machinery for acquiring London real estate at scale. The mechanism Al Jazeera's investigation revealed operates through identifiable stages. Stage 1. The agent. Every property purchase needs a finder. Ripan Mahmood served as a state agent, connecting Chowdhury's network with available properties. When undercover journalists approached the network, Mahmood made introductions to the broader apparatus. Stage 2. The lawyers. Charles Douglas Solicitors LLP handled legal work. Not one transaction, not 10, but refinancing for over 100 property loans. The volume indicates industrial-scale operation. Stage 3. The lender. Paresh Raja and his company Market Financial Solutions provided financing. Not occasional loans, but hundreds according to Al Jazeera's investigation. The lending volume transformed individual purchases into portfolio construction. Stage 4. The bank. DBS, the Singaporean banking giant, provided additional credit facilities. A contact named Rahul Marde reportedly managed the relationship. Stage 5. The multiplication. Here's where the machinery becomes elegant. Each purchased property generates equity. That equity enables refinancing. Refinancing releases capital for additional purchases. Each acquisition feeds the next. The cycle. Buy property to build equity, to refinance to extract capital, to buy more property, to repeat. A single seed investment, processed through this machinery, multiplies into dozens of holdings. The original funds, whatever their source, become increasingly diluted across an expanding portfolio. The corporate infrastructure tells its own story. Between 2016 and 2021, Chowdhury became director of multiple UK property companies. The timing and naming conventions suggest coordinated strategy. ZTS Properties Limited, registered February 2016. The first vehicle, the template. ZTZ Property Ventures Limited, Chowdhury listed as Person of Significant Control from July 2020. The designation confirms beneficial ownership, regardless of who holds formal director titles. Then 2021 arrives, and the structure explodes. Sadaqat Properties Limited, Chowdhury appointed director, July 22, 2021. Residence listed as Bangladesh. New Ventures, London, Limited. Director appointed, July 6, 2021. Zaria Properties Limited. Director appointed, June 21, 2021. Zeba Properties Limited. Director appointed, June 21, 2021. 4 companies in 5 weeks. The burst of corporate activity suggests either expansion or restructuring, possibly both. His wife, Rukmila Zaman, holds her own portfolio. Rukmila Properties Limited, company number 120895564, was registered in July 2019. Bloomberg's investigation traced 8 UK companies connected to Chowdhury that purchased 273 properties between 2016 and 2023. Al Jazeera's count reached 360 UK properties. The Financial Times documented 342 under the current freeze. The numbers vary because the structure's complexity makes precise accounting difficult. Properties held through companies, through nominees, through arrangements designed to obscure rather than clarify beneficial ownership. One detail from Companies House records. Multiple filings list Grant Thornton UK Advisory and Tax LLP as correspondence address. The global accounting firm later appointed administrators for several Chowdhury-linked companies, Sadaqat, Zaria, and Zeba, acknowledging they were ultimately controlled by Chowdhury. Two transactions illustrate the portfolio's scale. Fitzrovia, 2021. The neighborhood sits in London's heart. Georgian architecture mixed with media companies, advertising agencies, tech startups. Property commands premium prices. A one-bedroom flat costs £700,000. A family home breaches £3 million. Chowdhury's network didn't buy a flat. They acquired an entire apartment block for £12.65 million. The purchase represents a different investment category. An entire block generates tens of thousands monthly, possibly hundreds of thousands annually. Central London means premium tenants, young professionals, corporate relocations, wealthy international students. Demand exceeds supply perpetually. The strategy: acquire assets generating income while appreciating. Use rental income to service debt. Use appreciation to refinance and extract capital. Deploy capital into additional acquisitions. The flywheel spins faster with each rotation. St. John's Wood, 2022. A year later, Chowdhury purchased a luxury home for £11 million. The neighborhood whispers residential exclusivity, tree-lined streets, detached Victorian villas, gardens behind high hedges. Lord's Cricket Ground anchors the area. Abbey Road Studios nearby. Residents include diplomats, hedge fund managers, football executives, celebrities seeking discretion. The St. John's Wood House featured in Al Jazeera's undercover investigation. A $14 million residence housing a man whose ministerial salary amounted to $500 monthly. Another detail: Chowdhury filmed near a luxury block where he controlled 6 units worth over $9 million combined. Bulk purchasing: acquiring multiple units simultaneously with efficiency individual purchases lack. These showcase properties represent the visible peak. Hundreds of additional units accumulated across London. The £185 million freeze represents what authorities identified. The true total may be larger. London tells only part of the story. In 2023, leaked Dubai property records revealed another empire. Documents showed Chowdhury owning more than 250 luxury UAE apartments, valued at $140 million. His wife held 50 more, worth $25 million. Combined, 300 apartments, $165 million. Earlier leaks in 2020 and 2022 had identified 54 properties. The 2023 data expanded holdings sixfold. London and Dubai share characteristics attracting capital-seeking discretion. Both offer strong property rights, stable legal systems, high-end markets absorbing large purchases without scrutiny, professional services experienced in handling international clients, and, critics allege, avoiding inconvenient questions about fund sources. Dubai adds attractions: no income tax, minimal transparency requirements, a political system untroubled by investigative journalism. London adds different attractions: sterling stability, centuries of legal precedent, cultural prestige Dubai cannot match. Together, the cities form natural portfolio diversification, assets across multiple legal systems, protection against any single government's actions. Al Jazeera estimated total global holdings: over 600 properties worth approximately $500 million, $500 million, accumulated by a minister whose official income wouldn't cover a single mortgage payment on any holding. The scale defies casual explanation. This isn't wealth from decades of professional success or family inheritance. This is rapid, massive acquisition demanding explanation his official biography cannot provide. Bangladesh maintains strict currency controls. The regulations exist for macroeconomic reasons, protecting foreign exchange reserves, managing balance of payments, preventing capital flight from a developing economy. Citizens cannot legally transfer more than $12,000 abroad per year. The limit applies to everyone: business people, professionals, government officials. Exceptions exist for specific purposes: education expenses, medical treatment, approved business transactions, but general transfers face this ceiling. Consider the arithmetic. Chowdhury's documented property holdings total approximately $500 million. At maximum legal transfers of $12,000 annually, moving that sum out of Bangladesh would require over 41,000 years. 41,000 years. Longer than human civilization has existed. Longer than anatomically modern humans have walked the earth. Chowdhury's property empire accumulated in less than a decade. The discrepancy forms the core of investigative interest. It's not a minor gap requiring creative explanation. It's a chasm that no legitimate interpretation can bridge. Money in these quantities cannot have left Bangladesh through legal channels. The mathematical impossibility is absolute. Even if Chowdhury somehow earned $500 million legitimately within Bangladesh, which his ministerial salary certainly didn't provide, he couldn't have legally transferred it abroad. The money either never originated in Bangladesh, the defense Chowdhury offers, or it moved through mechanisms specifically designed to circumvent currency controls: underground banking networks, trade-based laundering, misinvoicing schemes. The various techniques that criminals and corrupt officials have developed to move value across borders without official detection. The facilitators Al Jazeera identified: estate agents, lawyers, lenders, banks, all claim they conducted proper anti-money laundering (AML) and Know Your Customer (KYC) checks. They assert that funds came from legitimate businesses in the UAE, US, and UK rather than Bangladesh. Market Financial Solutions, the lender providing hundreds of loans, maintains it followed all required procedures. Charles Douglas Solicitors, handling over 100 refinancing transactions, claims proper due diligence. DBS Bank, the Singaporean institution providing credit facilities, points to its compliance frameworks. Everyone did their checks. Everyone followed their procedures. Everyone's paperwork was in order. And yet, the explanation these checks accepted requires believing that a Bangladeshi government minister, earning roughly $6,000 annually in official salary, simultaneously operated international businesses generating hundreds of millions in profits. Businesses apparently unknown to Bangladeshi tax authorities, since none of these foreign assets appeared in his mandatory declarations. Businesses generating wealth at rates that would make Chowdhury one of the most successful entrepreneurs in South Asian history, while he devoted his primary energies to government service. Businesses whose profits somehow concentrated entirely in real estate purchases, leaving no visible trace in business registrations, employment records, or corporate filings beyond property holding shells. Al Jazeera's investigation quoted a Bangladeshi Supreme Court lawyer confirming what should be obvious. Politicians must declare foreign assets. The requirement isn't regulatory preference, it's constitutional mandate. Public officials, entrusted with public resources, must disclose their financial positions. The obligation exists precisely to prevent the situation Chowdhury allegedly represents. Chowdhury declared none of his foreign holdings, not the 342 UK properties, not the 300-plus Dubai apartments, not a single asset from his alleged $500 million portfolio. The absence cannot be explained as oversight. One might forget to declare a single foreign bank account. One might inadvertently omit a modest offshore investment. But 600-plus properties worth $500 million across 2 major global markets, held through multiple corporate structures registered in public filings? August 2024, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Mass protests sweep the country. Students initially mobilizing against job quota policies expand their demands to regime change. The government responds with force. The situation escalates. Sheikh Hasina, who has dominated Bangladeshi politics for 15 years, flees the country. Her aircraft reportedly heads toward India. Her government collapses. Al Jazeera's investigative unit reports that Chowdhury escaped Bangladesh during the regime's collapse. He made it out before the new authorities could prevent departure. By October 2024, despite a Bangladeshi court order banning his travel, Chowdhury was living in his $14 million London house. The travel ban held no force outside Bangladesh. British authorities had no grounds to act. Yet, September 2024 brought Al Jazeera's first major investigation: how a Bangladesh minister spent more than $500 million on luxury property. The documentation was extensive: property records, corporate filings, undercover footage. The story circulated globally. Bangladesh's Anti-Corruption Commission opened formal investigations. Allegations of money laundering, illegal acquisition of thousands of crore taka, hundreds of millions of dollars. The charges that come when protective political power evaporates. The British investigation proceeded through civil rather than criminal channels. An important distinction: criminal prosecution requires proving offenses beyond reasonable doubt. Civil recovery operates under different standards. The National Crime Agency can pursue assets suspected of representing criminal proceeds without necessarily prosecuting the owner criminally. The approach is practical. Cross-border corruption cases involve complex evidence chains, foreign witnesses, unfamiliar legal systems. Civil recovery focuses on the assets themselves rather than criminal conviction. June 5, 2025, the High Court issues freezing orders. 342 properties, £185 million in value, frozen, pending investigation. The orders prevent sale or transfer. They don't confiscate. That requires further proceedings. But they stop the assets from disappearing while investigations continue. The NCA's action followed cooperation with Bangladeshi authorities. The new government in Dhaka wanted assets frozen. Britain's legal framework provided mechanisms to act. By June 11th, major media confirmed the freeze publicly. Guardian: NCA freezes £170 million of UK property. Financial Times: UK freezes £185 million of properties linked to ex-Bangladesh minister. Al Jazeera: UK crime agency freezes assets of disgraced Sheikh Hasina ally. The slight variations in valuation, £170 million versus £185 million, reflect different assessment methodologies. The core fact remained constant: an enormous property portfolio was locked. Chowdhury denies everything. His position? The money came from legitimate businesses outside Bangladesh, enterprises he has operated for years. Legal income from legal sources in the UAE, the United States, the United Kingdom. He characterizes the investigation as politically motivated witch hunt. The framing is familiar. When political winds shift, new governments pursue old enemies. The allegations, he suggests, reflect political persecution rather than genuine criminality. The defense essentially requires accepting that Chowdhury maintained a parallel career as an international business magnate, generating hundreds of millions in profits, while serving as a government minister in Dhaka. A career somehow invisible to Bangladeshi tax authorities, yet extensive enough to fund 600-plus properties worldwide. The mathematical impossibility of his official income explaining his assets goes unaddressed. But the legal burden falls on prosecutors to prove wrongdoing, not on defendants to explain wealth. Without documentary evidence directly linking specific corrupt acts to specific property purchases, legitimate foreign business remains a defense.